I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm afraid of what's in it. Why now? Why, 20 years later, did the forgotten memories of those events that I tried so hard to put out of my mind come back to me again? But this is not the worst thing in this story. No, it is not the memories that are frightening, because they began to come along with them. I feel them. They appear at night. I hear their chuckles, whispers. I feel them very close to me with all my gut. I don't remember how long I sleep with the light on, but this does not affect the situation as a whole. They came for me, to take me with them to where I belonged, because then, 20 years ago, I should not have survived. I remember. East in 2003, I lived in a village that was located a few kilometers from the capital. No, not even a village. One might say an urban-type village, but that's not the point. I was 12 then. My friends and I had fun as best we could, because at that time, there were no such advanced technologies as there are now. So everything that was possible was used, starting with football and ending, so to speak, with exploring abandoned places, because then there was plenty of them. After all, well, the collapse of the Union and so on, there was simply no one to build, finish what was started, or even simply demolish unnecessary structures, or finances did not allow it, and therefore many of them stood for a long time without use or meaning. Some still stand in splendid isolation, watching with their empty dark windows, remembering the old days when humanity made grandiose plans and life was in full swing in the buildings themselves or next to them. The events that took place are connected with one of the previously mentioned abandoned buildings, or to be more precise, a 17-story building located several hundred meters from the shore of a huge reservoir. It is not difficult to guess that the soil turned out to be unsuitable for such structures, so the building gradually began to sag, sinking as if into a swamp, under the influence of its own weight. People made up many legends and tales about that place. Supposedly, there were serial maniacs operating there, all sorts of monsters, demons and the like, but has this ever stopped us? The memories are so clear and clear, as if they were not in my head, but I was watching them on TV. Every detail, every word spoken, time accurate to the minute. I remember literally everything that happened on that ill-fated summer day, which certainly raises a lot of questions. Why so, and why after a long time? The 20th of August 2003, 4 in the morning. I'm ready. I'm standing at the well with a backpack on my back, next to my faithful horse Desna's bicycle, the dream of teenagers of that time. I'm waiting for friends with whom, in fact, we discussed the time and place of the meeting in advance. Here they are: Sonyak, Pahika, Seryoga, and Colin. Ready? Seryoga asked without getting off the bike. Always ready, we answered in unison, then immediately set off. It must be said that from our place of residence to that abandoned place, about 16 kilometers, from which our path became very interesting, distillation, illegal collection of other people's grapes, walnuts, and everything that was in bad shape. They did not even disdain non-ferrous metal. Yes, in those days it was not bad-end. I would even say the main way of earning money for us. Our plans included the following: to get to the lake, fish until it starts to get hot, take a good swim, and only then we can go to a cooler place, into the inside of a giant concrete building. I won't tell you the whole process of fishing and other things. I'll go straight to the point, to where it all started. To get into the building itself, you had to climb through a window or balcony, since the basement and the first two floors were completely hidden from view, stuck entirely in the soil. Having got inside, we began to discuss where to go next: go to the very top or go down to the very basement, where, according to experienced guys, an atmosphere of fear and hopelessness reigns. Well, what's there to do in that basement? Pashka snapped at my proposal. Here the top floor is a different matter. There is simply an amazing view. Everything is in full view. A lake, fields that have no edge or end, blue sky all around, as if a little more and you can't feel the fluffy clouds. Isn't this wonderful? Pah, we've already gone up there 100 times. Aren't you tired of the same thing? I don't argue. It's certainly fascinating. But let's make Vaska's dream come true this time, because he's already asked to see the basement floor several times, and we're putting everything off until next time, especially since we have everything with us: flashlights, spare batteries, food, water in abundance, warm clothes just in case. As if God himself made it clear that today is the day. Seryova responded and smiled broadly, and everyone else laughed. That's what they decided on. Step by step, lighting the way with a lantern, looking at various obscene inscriptions and drawings on the walls, trying not to make too much noise, we went down, approaching the goal. I don't know and can't say why I was then attracted to such places, dark, gloomy, closed, because many tried to avoid such places, but not me. Having overcome 3 floors down, a very sad sight opened before us. I returned home safely, but my friends? Naturally, after those events there was an investigation. I was interrogated more than once, but who would believe my words and statements? My friends were never found, neither alive nor dead, although they combed the entire building up and down. As it turned out, that same basement, according to law enforcement officers, is not as big as I said, just a few rooms in a corridor connecting the 2 wings with the main building. I am still haunted by thoughts about what kind of place it was where we ended up. A parallel world, other world, anomaly. This probably doesn't matter anymore. I would give everything to change the outcome of those events, to bring my friends back. I would give everything to never end up in that damned place. For a long time, I could not sleep at night. I had dreams. I dreamed of my comrades who were calling me. I was afraid of the dark. I slept with the light on. Thanks to long and hard work, I was finally able to force myself to throw the memories of those terrible events out of my head, still afraid of the dark. I don't remember when the memories appeared, but I began to feel them along with them. Now I understand that it's not the memories that have returned. It's my friends that have returned. They come at night, invite me to play with them, explore abandoned places, persuade me to go to that very building on the shore of the lake, because it still stands there, beckoning me to it. My friends, they look the same as they did then. They haven't changed a bit. They're still the same boys, mischievous and cheerful. I'm ready. The backpack is assembled. I cleaned up a bicycle that had been stored in a barn for a long time. It's 3 in the morning. I'm leaving in an hour. Pieces literally fell from the wet concrete walls, exposing the rusty reinforcement frame. On the ceiling, condensation accumulated in large drops, which, not often, but still fell down, landing on our heads or behind our collars. The concrete floor was also littered with pieces of concrete, construction debris, empty bottles and the like. We became quiet and began to listen. Grave silence and cold reigned in the place. Only occasionally the sound of falling drops on the concrete floor broke the silence, forcing one to involuntarily turn back, as if alarmed by something. After 40 minutes of walking through the premises, as if through a labyrinth, it began to dawn on us how huge it was, since walking completely from the first wing of the building to the last one would not take even 15 minutes. Verified, the further we delved into the depths of the basement, the more we realized that none of us even remembered which way the exit was. Thus, we have driven ourselves into a trap, lost in a place forgotten by God. Well, are you finished? Pashka said angrily. Don't grumble. Everything is fine. This basement can't be so big that you can't find a way out, Sir Yoga answered, but the former confidence was no longer felt in his voice. It was noticeable that the guy was nervous, like everyone else. We need to go back. The exit is behind us. We came from the other side. I remember exactly. Kalian intervened in the conversation. What do you think, Dacia? Sonyak asked, illuminating the corridor in front of him, cutting through the thick darkness with the flashlight beam. I agree with Kalian. Something tells me that the exit is there. I pointed the flashlight beam in the direction where it seemed to me that the exit was located, but how wrong I was. Then let's not waste time. Let's get out of here already. Don't set foot in here again, Pashka added, after which we set off, hoping to find a way out as soon as possible. The Montana watch made it clear that we had been wandering through dark corridors and rooms for more than an hour, but alas, the exit had not been discovered. The guys were pretty nervous. Some were on the verge of hysterics. But what happened next defies any logical explanation. In an instant, everyone's lights went out at the same time, leaving us alone with the frightening darkness. Everyone, in a panic, attempted to replace the batteries, but this did not produce any results. The flashlight simply refused to work. The panic began. Remembering my Nokia 3310 phone, I frantically took it out of my pocket and illuminated the space in front of me with it. Of the entire group, now only Sir Yoga and I remained. Where is everyone else? I asked, looking around. Are you asking me? I was trying to fix the flashlight, and then you turned on the phone and there was no one there. There was a grinding sound nearby, as if a sharp object was scratching the walls. Turning around, we noticed that in the darkness someone's eyes sparkled with red fire. We looked at each other, and without a word we both watched wherever our eyes were looking, trying to stay together and not lose sight of each other. We ran for a long time, tripping over various debris, falling, getting up and helping each other. Someone was definitely following us, and this someone tried his best not to give himself away, but his heavy steps echoed throughout the entire corridor. He kept the same distance, neither getting closer nor lagging behind. At one point, I grabbed my friend by the sleeve and pulled me into one of the rooms, after which they both held their breath and began to listen. The one who was chasing us froze in place. For some time we sat there in complete silence, but soon the same grinding sound was heard, very close. Having caught our breath a little and gained strength, we again rushed in a direction unknown to us, under the dim lighting of the telephone. Endless rooms. It is unclear for what purpose and for what purpose. Long, endless corridors, darkness and steps that did not lag behind for a moment. All this drove us crazy, and it would seem, when we had already lost all hope of finding a way out, it appeared before us. It is not clear how, but we managed to reach the stairs leading to our salvation. When we started climbing the steps, I accidentally dropped the phone from my hands and it rolled down. "I will take," Sir Yoga shouted, and then began to go back down, trying to catch him. "Leave him alone. Let's run," I answered, but he only continued his descent. He picked up the indestructible phone from the floor and illuminated the space in front of him. We both screamed. Standing next to him was something huge, 2.5 meters if not more. In his hand was a hefty cleaver, with which he separated the head from the body in one movement, after which the lifeless corpse of my comrade fell to the floor. Still clutching the phone in his hand,